What's going on, everybody? It is Luke here, bringing you a hopefully awesome video. So, right, today we're going to be talking about Christmas repricing strategies. Of course, before I was talking about Q4, but now we are in December. Christmas is only a few weeks away. Things start to really get quite sensitive in terms of you need to have a really decent strategic plan for your different types of repricing strategies. And if maybe you've just got one, but maybe after this video you will see that you need to have a couple of scenarios planned out in your mind so that whatever happens as and when you are able to act, so that you're not either left with loads of stock, left with stock that won't sell the rest of the year because maybe it's very seasonal, and all that sort of thing. Like personally, I don't want to have 50 units of a toy that really only sells in Q4 or actually Christmas time, that sort of November, end of November, December time. I don't really want to be left with 50 units because that could be thousands of pounds tied up in something that may take the next year to sell, okay? So this is going to be how to strategically reprice different types of products in different categories and building up a good picture in your mind how you're going to go about tackling and repricing them as and when you get closer and closer to the 23rd of December, which will be the last day that anyone can buy, which will be a Monday, for next day delivery for the 24th. And as the 24th comes around, you'll notice a completely avalanche destruction in sales, whatever you want to call it. It'll just go like, it'll just be like the most depressing thing you've ever seen. But if you sell everything beforehand, you won't be upset because you already have had a great December, even though it's only the 23rd. So you basically see the month as the 1st or the 23rd of December. That is your month. And then whatever you do after that is just a little bit of top up for the overall month's sort of sales or whatever your target is, yeah? Because I noticed that, I only did about 2-3 grand in those last, 8-9 days, whatever it is, compared to obviously I could do 3 grand a day. So let's get started. So I'm giving you 2 examples of things that I have sold in the past, and if I was still selling them, how I would tackle them now. And I don't mind telling you exactly how I would have sold them and everything, but because I don't sell them, I can tell you everything. If I was selling them still, of course, people would copy me probably before it's the end of, because there's still a couple of weeks. So let's get started. So this is a Star Wars BB-8, obviously extremely seasonal. It's a toy. You can see, it tells you the sales estimate, but I wouldn't really pay attention to a lot of these things. Obviously, we're going to backdate this. I've already, you can see, so what you'll be using really is you want to be using some sort of keeper. And now there's lots of different keeper plugins. You can obviously, you can subscribe to the keeper graph itself, the company or whatever, or you can get it on like, Bybot Pro, FBA multi-tool, what's the other one? SELLERBOARD. They all have their own plugins for it, but you need to analyze this to actually find out vital parts of vital bits of information to know what you're going to be doing as the days tick on. And I mean, maybe when I mean the days to tick on, as of next Monday, you've basically got 2 weeks of non-stop craziness. So in my mind, I'm breaking it down into next week, and then as of the following week, so 1 and 2, and then possibly 3, which would be leave to sell after Christmas. So 3 phases or 3 strategies. And then I would mentally, you can obviously do it in an Excel sheet or something if you've got a lot of ASINs. I have tons, but I know I'm so familiar with my stuff that I don't really need it. But, whatever suits you. And you put them into a category. And then also, as the weeks go on, you will just check up on them to see if maybe they are better or worse than you thought. You might have a 50 units and be like, oh God, that's loads, but actually you find that you're easily selling them. So that item might move, and it might be, a quite, so you can just sort of look at it as like aggressive repricing strategy, a balance, and a cautious. Yeah, just because I use that on Profit Protector Pro. And that's, so an aggressive would be, you've got a lot of, you don't know what's going to happen and you want to get rid of them, maybe for a little bit less of a margin, but you're going to get rid of them. So that's the most important thing for you. But how do you know how many you're going to sell? What if you sell out too early and you could have got more money? We'll go over all those things. Then once we've gone all over this today in this video, you will then, you can decide with the information I've given you which one they fall into, and then you're able to, as the days go on, you might find that there are items that drift around into different categories. But as next Monday comes, you're like, right, that item hasn't got better or worse. It's exactly as I thought. X, Y, Z still the same. I'm going to do this, and then you follow that sort of attitude and implementation across the weeks. So the example is I have between 50 and 100 units of toys at the moment, and we've got 15, 16, 17 days, something like that, of sales. So if I was selling 5 to 10 a day, I've got 50 to 100. That's between 5 days and 10 days. Yeah, just obviously it varies, and sometimes you have a better day than others. But that's to say that. So I've got 100 units, and I'm selling 10 a day. I've got 10 days worth of stock. Well, let's say I was selling 5. I've got 20 days worth of stock. It might get a little bit more busy as we get into the last 2 weeks, or like maybe sometimes the end of next week might start picking up, because people know they're last minute. Like for me, I'd always do it Christmas Eve, probably at 7 p.m. I think it's open at 7 p.m. Whatever time they close, about half an hour before that. Just because obviously I forget that actually Christmas is not. I'm like, oh yeah, Christmas actually is not what I think Christmas is, like making loads of money. Well, trying to make loads of money, or whatever you want to call it. It's actually about other things. So then I have to switch my mind to what real Christmas is. So I've got like a fake Christmas, real Christmas. Anyway, let's get on, because these videos are always too long, so no one watches them. So this product, we're going to go down. Let's say it is last December, because obviously we have not. I basically snapshotted it into, this is last year, 2018, and you can see here coming into December, it's pretty much consistent in its rank. Now, yeah, it does spike there, but we'll ignore that. It's around 4,000, and you can even see even up to the end of December here, it's still actually around, around here, it's still the same. So okay, so there's no like massive reduction in rank, meaning it goes to like 200, and meaning the sales would be like skyrocketing, exponentially more than what they currently are. So from this, you'd be like, right, the sales should stay about the same. Okay, point one. So as a strategy, I won't think they're going to be selling more or less leading up to Christmas. I'm going to currently say they're selling the same. Obviously, there's no way to know if that's going to happen, but you can just go off you can only go off the data you've got to give you the best picture of the situation, to then predict with as high a percentage of accuracy as you can the outcome. Yeah, simple. So 5, I don't know, doesn't matter anymore. Okay, now we're going to look at the price. So the price is pretty static. Now it does actually increase. So that's £40, and that is about 40. Let's see what the top one, about £41. So it does increase. So you could be, and with other products, the increase could be £5. Yeah, so it might be 44.99. This is a little bit of an increase, but still, it's money that you, in theory, are losing if you sell out too fast because you're scared and you want to get rid of them, but then they sell out in 3 days. What's the point if you can't get any more, And of course, if you can get more, then your strategies will be different. So each situation will be different, and you're going to have to add your own, experience to this a little bit, because I don't know what products you're selling. Can you restock them like by tomorrow? Can you get next day delivery? Can you buy 50 of them if you sell 50 today? If you accidentally sell 50, oh God, I've run out. Can you go and get more? Can you not get any more? They're out of stock everywhere. So they're like little side things you've got to obviously add to this at the end. So I'd be like, I could hold out just for this example. It's selling at $39.99 pretty much, and I could sell it back here on the 11th of December. So any time between December 7th and all that, it's selling. It's fluctuating, but let's just say it's about $39.99 on average, maybe 40 something. And then I'll look down at the sellers. So what you'll find is that, no idea why this person suddenly just bumped in here, but you could, if you were here and you're watching it day to day, you'd see that this number of sellers is dropping. 29, don't know if it's 28, yeah. And you'd be like, what? That's quite nice. I like that. It's the 12th of December. I think that this product could do something like this. Now let's go to all. Let's find. Here we go. So this is the example. So this can be used. So here we are. We're December, beginning of December, and it's selling at £59, and that actually it does get to 62. So it goes for more, and obviously you could sell a hell of a lot more faster, because what you would see every day, you would see this bottom section here reduce, and now you're thinking, well, I'm thinking personally, it's December 5th. If we carry on with that trajectory, by if we take that over, that's like the 2nd up to the 6th, 4 days. Well, let's go 4 more days. Something like that. So we should be down, if you were carrying on that trend, you could be down here at, what is this line here? About 27. So if you basically took this section here and you literally copied that and pasted it down here, as in it carried on going down, of course it didn't. Where would you be on the 10th? You'd be down here. And if you carried it on, at what point would you be one of the only sellers left? Maybe around the 20th, yeah? If you carried this line down, like right down the bottom, But again, not always that's going to happen. People find the product again. It may come on offer. It may be that it was out of stock and now it's back in stock. People may have saved some to send in to purposely get it when they can get an increased price. There's no guarantees the price will go up. And you can see here, really, the price hasn't gone up. But in a lot of the examples, it will. Yeah. So a lot of things you can, even if it's £1 or 2 more, or within a couple of quid across all of your items that you're selling, can make hundreds of extra pounds profit just by literally making one decision, and you do nothing else. So the actual work is almost zero. It's just the decision making, and then you can make £300, £400, £500 profit in December extra by literally just getting a couple of pound extra on every sale. You do 1,000 sales. Well, that's £1,000, but I mean, if you were doing less, minus the fees, 600 quid. But then, of course, here you would notice on the 6th, it's going back. It's not actually doing it. It's going up. And then you might be like, you know what? I don't mind holding it. I've only got 20. I don't mind waiting a couple of days to see if it continues to go up. So if you carried on seeing this little ziggy-zaggy thing going up, then, of course, at about the 15th or the 14th here, I'll be like, well, that's a V shape if it did a V. You know what? To get back down where just it was, it's going to be like the 20th, and it's like, no, I'd rather not like flirt with the line, yeah. I want to actually get rid of them. And also, you might find that the seasonality of it is even, you don't want to have any after that point. Now, if you find that the rank doesn't change that much, you can see here January, the ranking's still pretty solid. You might be like, you know what, that's actually quite good. I don't mind holding them after because I can actually get, £52 instead of the, like, you don't know what it's going to be. Actually, the pricing here hasn't really changed much, but on many items you will see that the price would be like $39.99 and it'd be like £50 or $49.99. So you can change it to a tenner. But that's quite a lot across a lot of items and a lot of sales. But you might be like, as it gets around here, you're like, nope, you know what, a week away. That's just, I want to get rid of them more than anything. Because for me personally, I like to get rid of a lot of my stock to cleanse the system, meaning purge all the crap. Not crap, but purge everything. Because come January, I don't know what's going to be selling. As great as the charts are, January is January, and I don't trust them enough unless it's a item I have already sold in January, like last January. But if I don't know and I look at it keeper, a 5,000 ranking in toys in January and a 5,000 ranking toys in December are completely different. 5,000 toy ranking in December is like, that could be 100 units a day. Now in January, that could be 12. But everything completely reduces in its sales, so the rank doesn't change because the amount of X against the amount of like compounded X against each one, meaning the more like the increase percentage on each sale is across the board crap. So none of them are going to move against each other because they're all crap. If some were better, then of course they would be they would reflect it in the rank. But then if you go to 3 months now, well, you can see here. What if the ranking then went to this in January? Well, let's just go to a year so it looks a bit better. Yeah, you can see here it's all like December, and then come January, well, actually it does get worse and worse and worse. And I don't really want to be, yes, the price, this does go right down. As you can see here, it then sells at like 49 quid. And obviously here it's selling at, when it's at the, well, that's not too bad actually. But yeah, it's like a tenner higher actually there. But that's because the number of rank sellers have gone down. So you use, this is the stuff you need to be taking into consideration for your units. And of course, if you've only got 5 or 10 or 20 units, they should easily sell out by Christmas time. It's only if you've got, it's more the top, so you start at the top with your most like in stock products, as in how many have you got. If you've got 200, go like tackle that one first. Maybe put it in a spreadsheet. Maybe put some scenarios. If I've got over 50 by next Monday, I'm going to do this. And, you can even adopt some repricing strategies. Like if I have 100, I'll be like, right, I don't mind taking 15% to 20%, depending on what the buy box is. But for the first 25 to get rid of the first 25, I'm still making profit. And then on the next 25, I'll have, 25 to 20 to 30, sorry, 20 to 25, and then you're happy for the last, and then you basically you step it, so you step cost it or step sell it, whatever you want to call it. So your average will actually be all right, but you're also covering yourself by selling some of the front stock so that you're not stuck with them. Because if then you were stuck with 100 and it looks like this, it's going to take you many, many months, and your stock capital is going to be tied up. You're working whatever the hell it is. Capital investment is going to be tied up in all that stuff, and you don't want it. The batteries might run out. I don't know what it is, but you don't. For me, I'd rather cleanse the system. Yeah, I don't mind having a handful of bits and bobs there because they will sell, but it's just having too many. And of course, it happens. You can't force a sale. The bigger you get, the more you buy. It might come that there are products like that now and then. But these are little things you've got to add up and be like, right, so I now know what I'm going to do when I'm going to do it. And if the rank, and if it is product dependent, each product's slightly different. And also, the background. I mean, if a lot of people that I know want to get it in and out fast, some people don't. They don't mind holding it till next Christmas, or many months after, because they can actually get a premium because they're looking at a longer term plan. But if you're in and out, then maybe you want to get rid of it. So for me personally, if I got over 100 now, I'm like, right, I don't mind taking 20, 30 units off the table, because of course I can. If I get that selling in the next couple of days at 15%, which is it is crap, but it's still profit. I can reinvest that money before Q4 finishes. But if I just leave it for another 2 weeks, I might get 28%. But actually, I make more profit overall by taking the 15%, taking all of that, and then reinvesting it as many times as I can over the next 2 weeks. Because things sell, I'm spending thousands. Even now, I'm spending like $5,000 a day, $3,000 a day, and I'm getting it next day delivery, and it goes the next day. And then I'm going to repeat that until, for a while now, at least for next week. What we now? What day is it today? Whatever it is, and at least another 7 days. The 6th of December. So at least until like the 16th, 17th, 18th. And obviously I will adjust that as I get each day. I will, see what I've got, see what the sales are. Is the velocity of the sales the same? And adjust it as exactly, that's just another adaptation. Is that the right word? Another angle to look at it. This also helps you do that. Give yourself a little bit of insight into those areas. We're going to jump onto another listing. Disney. This is a product I used to sell. Then it went out of stock, and that's that. That was that story. That's the story she wrote. Was that? I don't even know what they're saying. So let's go to, and this hasn't got as much historic data. So you can see here, you can't go back that far and actually sort of do a bit of analysis because it's not that old. So you're thinking, well, how am I going to know what it's like in January and all that? Because this first bit, you can't really take too much credibility on it because it's sort of just brand new, and let's just go to the 3 months. So we can see here the price is pretty static, so I'm not worried too much about that. It does go down here, about a £5 dip, and if you're around here, you can see here at one point it was 14 sellers, and now and then it started going down. It went up a little bit here and there, but over time it is going down. There's a decent trend here, yeah, and definitely as it got to November 28th, it starts going down. Well, now what are you going to do? Well, what I would personally do, even if I had 10 or 20, I'd be looking at the rank, sub 10,000 toys, even up to the 23rd it should sell, but a couple of days before, it went up to 6 sellers there, but this looks like and it obviously has now gone back down. This is a product that I actually think could sell for a lot higher. So let's have a look what the buy box could be. 43. It's selling at 41. Are you happy with 41, or do you want to take a couple of extra pounds because you don't really need to sell it this instance? They've got no immediate urge as long as it's by Q4. And you might have 10 of these, and then go ahead and think, what? Currently from this, and knowing it personally, it's out of stock, and I check it now and then, and it's still out of stock. It's still out of stock. It's still out of stock. I actually now I've covered myself from behind, meaning I know where this is coming from, the source, and I know it's only going to come from the Disney store because it's a bloody Disney product. Well, I guess it can come from other places, but I know it comes from the Disney store because I've sold it. And it's out of stock. I said it's been out of stock for weeks, and so it's only going to get better and better and better. And you could even be cheeky at the very end on, you could even have a couple left over for the Christmas Eve, and put the price at $59.99. You know, people do pay that money because they really, sometimes they're like, you know what, I really need this, but I just can't get it anywhere else, because you already know the Disney store's out of stock. You know the source is out of stock. So if someone really wanted this, they're going to have to pay the premium. That's, you know, what's that film? Jingle All the Way. That is an amazing film with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he has to get that, what's it? Turbo Man. Yes, I remembered it as well. And he has to get the Turbo Man for Christmas for his son or something. And it costs like $1 million. Basically, it's sold out everywhere, and he just goes to the ends of the earth. That's what people do, but they just go on Amazon. Didn't have Amazon probably back then. Well, for books probably, but that's about it. And you could even be cheeky and do that. But, you know, if you're like, you know what, I don't really know if it's going to sell in January and that, of course, just make profit anyway. Profit's profit. Each person to their own. They're going to have different strategies. Maybe it's your first Q4. You want to get your money in and out. Look what you got. You know, look at everything at the end, and then assess the situation, rather than be left with dribs and drabs and not really know the full equity of your company or your business or whatever, overall cash, I guess. And yeah, and each of these things, you know, for me personally, I'm literally looking at the quantities I've got. Can I restock it? What is the trend currently? And it hasn't been in stock for a while, because I know. You know, and I would, if I even ever had 30 of these, what's the rank? Really, really decent rank, you know, and it's not getting worse or better. It's basically staying really consistent. So I would expect this, you know, you could probably be the only seller of this product within another week, a week and a half. You can even just say this and just come back to it and check, like on the 20th or something. And if you're the only seller of this, you could easily sell, you know, 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 a day. Of course, I don't sell it, so you really need to actually look, because sometimes the rankings and the keeper graphs aren't a true reflection of the velocity of sales that you'll gain by just being, you know, exclusively in the buy box. Because, you know, just because the ranking and sales looks great and there's 5 people, but hang on, you're going to have 5 times more sales because you're the only seller. So it sort of goes out the window a bit, doesn't it? You know, each of these represents a slightly different number, because sometimes you've got a couple of people to compete against, and then in other instances you don't. And so really you just need to decide, you know, maybe you've got some non-seasonal products, so they are, you know, replenishables. They could be stuff that you just sell all year. Well, you're happy to keep them ticking over. You don't really care too much what the stock number is. Yeah, they're going to sell anyway, and you would just be buying them in January to send in, because that's what you've been doing all year, to, you know, to fill the, you know, like I call them like tick over stock. You know, they just sell all the time, and it doesn't really change with the season or the month. Anything from like fairy washing up liquids, you know, and stuff like that. It's needed not really anymore. Probably maybe a little bit more Christmas, because people want to do a little bit more washing up because they've got the family around. But then again, all the people that go around to their family aren't going to be doing the washing up. So I guess it's just null and void on that point. And these are the little things. And if you just start at the top with your most in-stock product, or, you know, what you think is going to be, because you might be replenishing it if it's a popular product and you might be able to keep your hands on it, and just really get these numbers crunched down. And then as you get closer and closer and closer and closer to Christmas, of course, start going down your list. Maybe then you move down to sub 50, anything less than 50 units, sub 20, sub 10. And then at what point are you happy to have some, no matter what, as in anything under 5 units, 4 units, you know, you're happy to sell in January, February, because that's not too many units. And you obviously you still want to be selling in those months anyway. So why not have those products to sell, rather than trying to get them flushed out, crashing a price, for example, because you're scared and you want it out. If they're just going to sell anyway, if you're not sure, prepare now, and don't just get to the point where you're panicking and then you just crash the price and you actually maybe lose money, or you break even, because you literally are trying to force that price as low as you can, so people are more likely to buy it because you just want it gone. You don't want to get to that point, because, you know, and also you don't want to get to that point too early, because there's so many situations you'll be in where you actually have 50 units, 20 units, 30. You think, the buy box has gone down like 50p or a pound, and I do it as well. You know, I do step cost it, like I said, so I will bring it down for 15 to 20% because I've got over 100, and it hasn't really. And I'll look at like my historic sales. So I look at the last 7 days. You know, how many have I sold? If I carried on selling at that rate, where would I be? You know, and I'll use SELLERBOARD for that. You know, for SELLERBOARD, I literally use every second of every day to know when to restock, how many to restock, what did I sell yesterday, what have I sold in the last 3 days, everything. And that's how I make sure my numbers are basically perfect in terms of not numbers as in like the figures. I mean the literal numbers in terms of stock levels, when to sell, how many are going to sell in the last 7 days. Therefore, extrapolate that data, push it forward 2 weeks. Also, add that to the keeper analysis I've just done to see, okay, it says 7, but it's gone down in half. It's half the number of sellers that are selling it down here. So 7 would actually now be 14 because there's half the number of sellers, and so on and so on. And you've got to obviously piece all these pieces together to build the best picture for every product. So you could almost see the future without seeing the future. Just get as good a picture as possible. Anything can happen, of course, but over a consistent amount of time and a consistent amount of products, if you implement that, the averages of what this is should pay out, as in the probability will be that yes, some might not go how you plan, but more will, because you've taken everything you've got and created the best forward projection you can. And of course, if your analysis is good, you're actually doing it properly, it should play out. It's just predicting, but with not just random predicting. It's literally taking as much information as you can possibly take to create the best odds to that outcome coming into fruition. Whatever. I've obviously learnt my English really, really bad when I was like 12. Actually, no, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. Well, I know what I'm trying to say anyway, so that's the good thing. So I know it's a lot. It's a lot to take on board, a lot to do, a lot to think about. But if you just strategize now, a lot of my time every day is literally strategizing the products I'm selling, and a lot of them that I know that I'm selling out of, and I can't restock. Then I'm just letting play out as they play out. But obviously, as I push over the weeks, I will start to look at the lower stock products, as in which ones I've got lower stock on, because obviously I'm interested. Do I want to break even on them? Are they completely seasonal? But at the moment, I'm happy to work away from the top, the most popular, the most in-stock products, working my way down, putting them into potential scenarios, what-if scenarios. What if this happens? What if this happens? What if nothing else happens? As in, you already, what your analysis as of now will still play out, and put that into a nice package so that you're not panicking and acting on emotion come every single day that gets closer to that 23rd. That's what you don't want to do. Obviously everyone knows that anything done in the height of emotion is normally the wrong thing. It's in anything. If people get just their emotions heightened, get upset, they act rash. Oh, do you know what? I need to go back to school or something. I don't know what's happened to me. I need to buy a dictionary and a thesaurus. That sounds cool. 1 word a day. 10 years time, I would be a genius. Anyway, going to leave the video there. 30 minutes would be nice and sweet. Hope you're having a great Q4, and I know I am. I'm really looking to push my best Q4 ever. And I have seen that some people have said it's not the best, and there's not many deals, and there's stuff like that, and there's lots of competition. But there is always going to be, with every weakness as an opportunity, or whatever that thing is. But they are out there. Even now they're out there. You can find them. Just look for those little outside the box techniques to do things that other sellers aren't doing to have an amazing Q4. And even if you don't have a great Q4 and it's not as great as you wanted, use what you've learnt and strategize for next year, because there's always next year. Yeah. And that experience that you take from this year will actually be the most important thing for next Q4, more than anything. Not even the products you're finding or the capital you have. Of course, they're taken into consideration, but the experience and knowledge is the most valuable thing you're actually gaining. So even if it looks like on paper you've actually made less than you think, you've actually made more than you think. Gonna leave it there. Have a great December and a great Christmas if I do not speak to you. I'm sure I will. And I'll see you on the next one.